Hola. Shalom. First and foremost, call Allah Yahweh. Double honor to the apostles, the elders of Great Millstone. I will do real well and salutation brothers doing this thing in sincerity and truth and with charity. All right. Okay. All right, so like you see on the screen, man, we get Jeremiah 50:33. Hey, 2 kingdoms, 1 captivity, man, and lynchings. That's what we're going to touch on, man. Hey, to you, black-only Israelites, man, Elder Malcolm call them BOIs, man. Hey, to keep it plain, you're full of shit, man. You're pieces of shit and you're full of shit, man. Let's repent. Because the northern kingdom suffered the same curses as us. Hey, can we get Romans 8:16 real quick? They followed the same, they went through the same things we went through, man. And that's the proof. Ain't about how you feel, ain't about skin color, it's about what the scriptures say, man. All right? When they went through, they went through. You got the Romans?
Yep. This Romans chapter 8, verse 16. The Spirit itself bears witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High.
There you go. So hey, it's all according to what the word says, man. Because John 6:3, the word is the spirit, man. So the Lord said these plagues that fall upon you, these curses fall upon you, and then it should be a sign. In fact, let me hit it. And this is Deuteronomy 28. And Deuteronomy 28 and 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. They shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever, man. So these things that we suffered as a nation, yes, they were horrific, but they were a sign, man. All right? The chastening was a sign, man, that will show the word.
To go into that word pursue, it says to follow in an effort to overtake or capture.
That's right. So wherever we went, those curses were going to follow us, man. So when the northern kingdom came to the other side of the world, they suffered the curses just as like we did, man. That's why they were the first ones on the slave ships. All right, when Columbus came over here, they started taking the northern kingdom right away. Before they even put us in fucking slavery and brought us over here, man.
And that's why Scripture says he's like an eagle that hastens to eat, man. As soon as he swooped down, he's devouring. Hey, what Cristobal Colon said, he said, I didn't put down my sword, not for 1 hour. He implemented the Ecumeniende system, which is basically what we're still going through. This is the Ecumeniende system. Bring me your gold, your resources, and or I'm gonna cut your fucking ear off. I'm gonna cut your leg. I'm gonna take a pound of flesh from you. You know, being subject to payments.
That's right. All right. Here's Jeremiah 50. You said you got it?
Jeremiah 50 and 33. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go.
Right. And so the 2 kingdoms was split up. And you go into the history in 2 13, 1 kingdom left. The northern kingdom left that side of the world. They said they went to a new land where mankind did not dwell. This is that land that was uninhabited, man. All right, so they came to this side of the world. They said we'll be oppressed together. That happened over here. We suffered the same things where over here. All right? We got taken on slave ships, put in captivity, suffered under this devil's hand all over here, man. All right, they said they refused to let us go. All right, so around the same time they claimed to give us our freedom. All right, they claimed to give us our freedom. What increased? Lynchings increased. And it didn't happen to just us, man. It happened to the northern kingdom. You know, for the most part, people is aware of the lynchings and part of the black culture. That's part of our culture now, man. You know, to the point where they made this song, what, Strange Fruit. But that happened to the Latins as well, man. Which proves that they're the Israelites, man. Because that's also a curse. You know, let me get that. That's also a curse, and that's a sign. Let me get these articles.
They used to have the human zoos. The only ones that it wasn't humans, it was just Israelites. It was both the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom.
I got one real quick, if I may. While you look for that, brother. This is Isaiah 52 and 5. This is Isaiah 52 and 5. Now therefore, what have I here, saith Yahweh, that my people is taken away for naught? they that rule over them make them to howl, saith Yahweh, and my name continually is blasphemed, man. You know? So, hey, man, our oppressors, man, they cause us to howl, man. You know, hey, they did everything to us, man. When I say everything, everything. They did everything, man.
Oh, yo, can you get that second Maccabees is not done? No, it's first Maccabees that have not done unto it how it's been done unto Israel.
Oh shit, yeah, nothing under the sun.
Yeah, it has been done like been done to Israel.
Yeah.
Right now, when you said everything, that's what that is. Well, that's what that inspired. Like the brother has said, if that Jeremiah says if that we're gonna be oppressed together, all right, and then the BOIs, then where are these? Where is the basically the evidence, or where's the documentation that other so-called Africans are being oppressed in the United States? Where are their lynchings? Where's the mentions of the other one, man? All right. But
did somebody find a Maccabees?
That one's in Daniel. It goes into, I'm not get confused.
Oh, Daniel 4.
9. It's Daniel 9 and 11. It says, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by the pardon, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of Yahweh, because we have sinned against him. And he had confirmed his words, which he had spake against us and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil. For under the whole heaven had not been done as had been done upon Jerusalem.
John, the Maccabee Session, but yeah, that's the one I was thinking of, because this is these signs that they happen to us. That's how we know. Like the brother has said, that was the sign, man. That was what was going to pursue us. That we knew that when the children of Israel were going to wake up, all right, after being awoke, if brother can get that in Luke, it said when thou were converted, strengthened thy brethren, that when we came back to the knowledge that we were going to be Israelites, there was going to be certain prophecies that we would know that would connect us to those signs that we knew who we were. When we woke up, we were going to be like, okay, look, who's fitting the curses that are written in Deuteronomy, man? All right, and it's well documented about the Southern Kingdom's lynchings and hangings, man. And through the Spirit, we had talked about this with the brother yesterday about this. The same things happen to so-called Latinos and Native Americans, and this is something that gets swept under the rug. All right, because you were under the label as minorities. All right, you weren't accounted for when like I said, when the Constitution was written, you were in captivity, so that didn't apply to you. Nor does it apply to you now.
That's right. This is Luke 22 and 32. But I'm going to start at 31. And the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan hath desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. But I have prayed for thee that thy faith fail not. And when thou art converted, prove a reincarnation. And when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren.
We go back to the understanding of who he was. Because Peter knew right then and there who he was. This is going to be for a further time. All right? So when we go back to these things, when we do that, Job 8 and 8, when we look into the things of our forefathers, and we look at the signs and the prophecies and see how they apply then, how they apply now. All right? The historical references. So you had Vice just do they did a video on how they basically want to get Macedon into the EU. But they wanted to change its name because they know that certain of the Macedonians don't want to go under the label as Greek, and they're basically so all these things that were written, all these clues, all this information coming out is the documentation that this is the truth. All right.
Did you get that? Maccabees.
I think it was First Maccabees 4 and 27. It says, who when he heard thereof was confounded and discouraged, because neither such things as he would were done unto Israel, nor such things as the king commanded him were come to pass. No, I think it was this one. Salaki, I should have.
I think it was that Daniel Salaki, brother. I think I may have been like the rest of my else makes it too kind.
You know, that Daniel was good, perfect thing, because at least this. Okay. It said the Lord did away, brought the curse upon us. It was something like that before saying. All right. The shit that we went through was the worst shit ever, man. It is, and you know, before Jacob's trouble, of course. This is Galatians 3 and 13. All right. In fact, you can read that Daniel one time. You still got it?
This is Daniel 9 and 11. Yeah, all Israel have transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of Yahweh, because we have sinned against him.
That's right. So because we went off, the Lord, he promised that this curse would come upon us. That happened, man. All right. And lynchings is a big part of that curse, man. It's an identifier, man. It's Galatians 3 and 13. Hamashiach. All right. And, Christ is written there, but Christ goes back to a false God, man. Serapis Christus, So we say it in the Hebrew. We say Messiah in Hebrew, which is Mashiach. Ha from means thus. So Ha Mashiach has redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made us to let you know that he only died for Israelites, man. All right? Mashiach has redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made a curse for us. How is he made a curse? For it is written, cursed is everyone that hangeth on a tree. All right? So being hung on a tree is a sign of being accursed, man. All right? And that became part of black culture. And guess what? The natives suffered it just like we did, man. When I say natives, I mean, Northern Kingdom. They suffered just the same as us, man. Proving that, hey, they're the curses like us, man. Prove that they're the Israelites, man.
And that's even it's even more sucky because it's not well documented like Jake is. Like when I say Jake, I mean Southern Kingdom with Jake.
Hey, it's documented. People just idiots, man. Because we got some proof right here.
Right, because we're in the information age. It's just you don't want to know about it.
And just like Esau was trying to hide the shit with the Southern Kingdom. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with the Northern Kingdom. That's why now they want to call us indentured servants. Yeah. That's why they're taking it out of school books. It's no difference. They did it to us. They do it to them. We suffer the exact same things. So, yeah. You want to start with this one?
John, can you pull this one up?
This one you want to start with?
Yeah. No. Con, this is, and the brother's pulling it up. This is on the History Channel. It says, The Brutal History of Anti-Latino Discrimination in America by Aaron Blackmore. And as it goes back to that Psalm 64 and 8, man. It says, school segregation, lynchings, and mass deportation of Spanish-speaking U.S. citizens are just some of the injustices Latinos have faced.
It's a lot. We're going to the Latinos, but that phrase alone made me think about the natives. They did this to the natives too. What they do, of course, tried to commit a complete genocide. But the ones that was left, they put them in a school system, made them learn their ways, separated them from separated from the crackers, but put them in to learn the American way. All right, tortured them, hung them. Hey, this is part of Israelite culture as of now, man. This is Israelite culture in America. This is what we suffered here in this place, man.
Hey, and now Jake holds in high regard shit that their forefathers rejected, man. Shit that their forefathers said, look, I died before. Hey, man, what was that one chief? I think he was a Ephraimite. He was like, is God? Are you gonna come to heaven? He said, it said the heaven that you're talking about. He said, if you in heaven, I don't want to be there, because he burned him at the stake. He said, if you in heaven, I don't want to be there. And that was the Northern Kingdom brother said. He was like, man, I don't want to be around you Edomites, man.
It says, Olvera Street is Los Angeles' icon, a thriving Mexican market filled with colorful souvenirs, restaurants, and remnants of the oldest buildings in Los Angeles. But though the bright tourist destination teemed with visitors, few realized it was once the site of a terrifying raid. In 1931, police officers grabbed Mexican Americans in the area, many of them U.S. citizens, and shoved them into waiting vans. Immigration agents blocked exits and arrested 400 people who were then deported to Mexico, regardless of their citizenship or immigration status. Now, these could have been natives to California, man. All right? It says the raid was just one incident in a long history of discrimination against Latino people in the United States. Since the 1840s, anti-Latino prejudice has led to illegal deportations, school segregation, and even lynching. Often forgotten events that echo the civil rights violations of African Americans in the Jim Crow era South.
Hey, we went through the exact same things. Even in the History Channel. Hey, can we get Psalm 64 and 8?
Got it. This Psalm 64:8. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away.
That's right. So even Esau Edom recognized that this is the same shit that the so-called Negroes went through here, man. Because we share the same culture as far as American history goes, man. All right, the so-called Negroes and Latin Americans, we suffered the same shit in this place, man. Slavery, fucking murderings, all right? They slaughtered the fuck out of us in gruesome ways, man. Taking on everything to the T, man. Segregation. It's all the fucking same. Hey, it's a big deal when any other fucking race say nigga. Nobody cares when the Latins say nigga, man.
Nobody
that
gives a
alone
fuck.
is the fucking proof.
Hey, because the simple fact is a lot of you niggas that think you claim on the slave ship was already here. You didn't come here on the slave ship. That's what the Census Bureau was all about. The Census Bureau, the motherfucking Census Bureau, what the fuck they do? They label all the fucking Native Americans, the Gadites, Reubenites, or even Ephraimites, any Northern Kingdom tribes that they could pass off as Negroes, take away their land, take away any right to their land. Oh, we don't need to make a treaty with you now because you're a fucking nigger now. You're a slave. Now we're going to put you in the fucking cotton field with the Southern Kingdom. So a lot of you niggas that's running around thinking you niggas, you actually was already here, man. You were already Gad, Reuben, Ephraim, Issachar, any other northern tribe you can ever name. All of them. Okay? And because the scriptures tell you in Hosea, Ephraim is a cake not turned. That was back then, man. You know, this devil got a lot to fucking pay for, man. That's why I was going to say, let's break their bands asunder and cast their cords from us, man. You broke up our family's tree, man. And now you got to pay, man.
It says often forgotten events that echo the civil rights violations of African Americans in the Jim Crow era. But I said, man, basically Esau is telling you that there was the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Snoop Dogg, he's a fucking Issacharite. Go ahead, Slow.
So the story of Latino American discrimination largely begins in 1848 when the United States won the Mexican-American War. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which marked the war's end, granted 55% of Mexican territory to the United States, man. 55% of Mexican territory to the United States. So these people weren't here legally. They didn't cross no border. They stayed this side of the border when their land was taken from them. When you set up the barriers, when you mark the lands.
Remove the landmarks.
Right, and Proverbs says that the wicked man will do that. Or the ancient landmark. It says not to, man. It says the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which marked the war's end, granted 55% of Mexico's territory to the United States. With the land came new citizens, the Mexicans who decided to stay or were too broke to leave, man.
It's their land. Shit, what do you mean decided to stay? This is the fuck they was in.
It goes back to eminent domain, man. They basically, the reason that they set it up that way so they could take it from you. The Mexicans who decided to stay in what was now U.S. territory were granted citizenship, and the country gained a considerable Mexican-American population.
Can I hit this for you real quick? It is Deuteronomy 28:49. The Lord Yahweh shall bring a nation against it from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. And what's this nation's symbol? A bird is the eagle, man. A nation whose tongue thou should not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. All right? And we're reading about some of the history here. This nation, these Edomites came to America, all right, what is now called America, took down the natives, took down the Latins, man, who are natives because they was here first, all right? Slaughtered them, all right? Took their land and kicked them the fuck out, man. All right?
I got one. Oh,
Ezekiel 17:3. And say, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, a great eagle with great wings, long wing full of feathers, which had diverse colors, came unto Lebanon and took the highest branch of the cedar.
Took the highest branch of the cedar because it's called Israel, the perfection of beauty, man. You know? Hey man, hey, Israel's beautiful people, man, and they had this land flourishing, man. When you go into the agriculture of this place, man, go ahead.
So he cropped off the top of the young twigs and carried it into a land of traffic. He set it in a city of merchants.
Yeah. He took away your freedom and put you in the goddamn shopping mall, man. That's all America. Hey, even George Carlin said that, man. America's a fucking shopping mall. It's a goddamn corporation, you know. He puts you in that land of traffic. When you go into that word traffic, it means commerce, man.
Okay.
I got one for you real quick. Okay. So yeah, man. This is Micah 2:2. For they covet fields and take them by violence. Right. It's good to say his eyes stand out with fatness, man. He have more than hearts can wish, man. It reminded me of that one king of Israel. I forgot his name. I can't remember his name right now. Salakia. But the prophet came to him and said, "What did you show him?" He's like, "I showed him my whole kingdom, man. I showed him everything." He's like, "Yeah, you showed him everything, huh? All right, nigga, he gonna get everything now."
That's Hezekiah.
That was Hezekiah, you know, because Jake's very hospitable, man. You know. Yeah, I'm gonna take you on a whole little tour, you know, and what happened, man? He took his ass to slavery, took his kingdom, man. All right. It says, and they covet fields and they take them by violence. Hey, when you bring Edomites to your house, they have that mentality. Oh, this is so nice. Oh man, I like the way you hooked that up. The whole time in their mind, they thinking about dethroning you, man.
We do get.
Yeah. It says never trust thy enemy, man, because he seek to take thy place, man. You know, if anybody want to grab that, man, matter of fact, grab that. You know, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. So they didn't just take our land. That wasn't enough. They took our land. They took us. Okay, but nah, we gotta take away your identity.
Yeah,
and that's what the fuck they did.
They took our languages from us. They took our culture. Made us learn their shit. Even Spanish, man. That's the conqueror's language.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the conqueror's language. Hey, they found the Los Lunar Stones, man. All right, the neighbors, they spoke in Hebrew, man. And Esau knows this. They made sure they beat it out of us.
Got a precept. So Lamentations 5:2. It says, "Our inheritance is turned to strangers, and our houses to aliens." And in the book of John 10:10 says, "The thief comes not for to kill, to steal, and to destroy." All right, and when they did that, they made us forget our nationality, our heritage. All right, and they took that. All right, and when you see slavery movies and things like that, the Edomites read them the Bible. All right, and when we read the Bible, we were beaten. You know, we were killed. We were whipped. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the Nat Turner movie is a perfect example. He said, "I don't care what you tell them, as long as they work faster, man." Which shows the same Christianity that had you filling them factories now, man. All right, because as long as your pastor gives you that good message for the week, man, you go back to that damn factory, man. All right. Do you want to keep going on this article? You got something?
Yeah, real quick. This Jeremiah 50:33. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah, so the northern and southern kingdom, you know what I'm saying, were oppressed together. And all that took them captives held them fast, and they refused to let them go. All right? So northern and southern kingdom, man, all of us, all 12 of us is oppressed together, man. And they refused to let us go. And the strangers have our home.
Right. Hey, and all that shit for you fucking back to African niggas, man, that shit ain't never happened, man. Hey, that's why they killed Marcus Garvey, man. He came with that back there. Listen, man, they had a movie called The Day Without a Mexican, man. And the whole fucking America broke down, man.
Right, well, because it goes back to the lesson. You know, he was hired. Mexicans run this damn place.
Got the one that Joanna quoted. This is Sirach 12 and I'm starting at 10. It says, never trust an enemy, for like his iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware.
Right, because Scripture said there's a man that hangeth down his head sadly, but inwardly he is deceit, full of deceit. Hey, what the Scripture says, it says his words were smoother than butter, but
it was drawn swords.
Yeah, drawn swords, man. He always got that knife in his, behind his back.
Yep.
And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust had not been altogether wiped away.
Right. So and now it's starting to be made clear. Hey, even that nigga from the Advice Show said this shit. He said pretty soon they just finna say fuck. I'm Esau, fuck you, and die. They finna. This is what it's coming to. Because first of all, he made himself an angel of light. He put it in your movies that he was this great hero and some nice guy, and then got you niggas believing that shit. But now it's getting to the point where it's too many of y'all, just like the old Egypt. It's too many. You're reproducing too much. Southern Kingdom and Northern Kingdom. You're outdoing him. You're too smart. And he's going to say, fuck it. I'm grabbing my sword and I'm coming for you, motherfuckers, man.
Carl, we got 2 articles to read, so let's not get too long.
12. It says, set him not by thee, lest when he had overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou at the last remember my words and prick therewith. And that's what he did, man, with the Gadites. He made them friends, came in humbly, crouching down. The Gadites, they all, he's cool, took him in.
John, this song, but it says he's broken a league with him. It's broken back. How much has been a league with him?
Yeah. And once they got what they needed, then they started backstabbing.
Con, keep reading on this. It says, as the 19th century wore on, political events in Mexico made immigration to the United States popular. This was welcome news to American employers like the Southern Pacific Railroad, which desperately needed cheap labor to help build new tracks. The railroad and other companies flouted existing immigration laws that banned importing contracted labor and sent recruiters into Mexico to convince Mexicans to immigrate. Anti-Latino sentiment grew along with immigration. Latinos were barred entry into Anglo establishments and segregated into urban barrios in poor areas.
Same thing happened to the Southern Kingdom, man. All right, it's nothing different. Same curses, same sufferings. And this is so they put them in the poor areas, right? It's Deuteronomy 28. Hey, that's why the Spirit had us read that Romans 8:16. They fit the curses, man. All right. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 23. Deuteronomy 28:43. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. And it tells you in Proverbs, the borrower is servant to the lender. So what happened? They came to America with high hopes of getting up top, and now they're in the hoods, just like us, in the ghettos. That word ghetto means place where the Jews dwell.
Even should bring his children to the murder.
That's right. Hey, that's prophecy, man. Hosea. He committed silly stuff, man. They went into Syria, man. They flew into Egypt. They came into this place. They came up there happy as hell. Yeah, let's land of opportunity. Let's go. That's what the curse said. All right, that's the prophecy. Because in 2 Amos 13, it says what, man? That the northern kingdom came to the side of the world, and this way it would be even at the latter time. They was gonna be over here. Yeah, they still had to suffer the curses, so a lot of them still got put on slave ships. But just like the southern kingdom, just like Judah, they was gonna have to suffer pain and suffering here in Babylon. That's prophecy. That's Micah 4. This is where the deliverance happens at, man. This is where we at. Plain and simple, man. So if you're saying that the Latins and Native Americans ain't part of the Israelites, you're full of shit, man. And this is the proof.
Real quick. Oh,
go ahead.
It's real quick. This Ecclesiastes 10:7. I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking that service upon the earth.
There you go.
All right. And we're the princes, man. All 12 tribes. All right. Northern and Southern Kingdom, and there's a statue. I don't know where it is.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Huh.
Teddy Roosevelt riding on a horse. Hey,
Yep.
wasn't he the one called Indian Killer?
Yeah,
Was it? Woo.
I think so.
I thought it was one of the founding fathers.
Salaki, but
Edomite.
They all were technically.
yes, they always Indian killers.
Yeah.
That's true. But nevertheless, Salaki, it was the damn devil Teddy Roosevelt on the horse. This is the statue, man. You commemorate their works. And on this statue was what? Him riding on the horse, and you got Southern Kingdom on one side, and you got Northern Kingdom on the other side, walking along, man.
Yep.
You don't got Gooks walking right there. You don't got filthy ass Hamites, no Africans walking right there. You ain't got no hairy ass Ishmaelites. You ain't got no loose neck ass East Indians. No, you got Northern Kingdom, Southern Kingdom, Judah, all right, and Ephraim, man. That's what the scriptures say. Damn devils, man. Andrew Jackson is Indian killer.
God, it says though Latinos were critical to the U.S. economy and often were citizens, everything from their language to the color of their skin to their countries of origin could be used as a pretext for discrimination.
It said he was skin color, man. Now you know, the language range just like Judah, from light to dark, man. Not just. Ain't no such thing as no black only Israelites, man. That take away 80% of the damn Judites, man. Oh, yeah.
Anglo-Americans treated them as foreign underclass and perpetuated stereotypes to those who spoke Spanish were lazy, stupid, and undeserving.
Hey, this is Deuteronomy 28 and 37. I'm gonna start at 36. Yahweh shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods with a stone. That's this land America. We didn't know this land, right? Whole eastern part of the world was known. Point is 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Yahweh shall lead thee. So what happened? We became proverbs and bywords. They said the hardest working nation on the planet, Issacharites, man. And they're lazy, they're this, they're that. They came to this place to work. They work for nothing. But that bad word still stick. Like the cartoon. I think Speedy Gonzalez's cousin, I think the mouse, he was a slow-mo. They call he was a lazy drunk Mexican. You know? But that was bullshit, man. All right, but that's what they did. It's like they did for the Negroes. You know, they love water, they eat up all that, they lazy. They built your whole country up. 400 years of free labor,
Right.
And then they're lazy. Are you serious?
They've been sustaining in America. Hey man, anywhere you go, it's Issachar. Hey, look, Issachar cooking everything, man. You go to Chinese buffet, you go to any buffet,
Hey,
you go to any.
And no matter where you go in the world, it said wherever you scattered. Because you go when I watch certain shit on Netflix, and when you look at the kitchens, even in Europe, it's Mexicans in those kitchens. All right, hey, Israelites, man. Go ahead.
God,
And so-called Mexicans. You know what? And Mexicans mean anointed, man. Go ahead.
in some cases, the prejudice turned fatal. According to historians William D. Kerrigan and Clive Webb, mob violence against Spanish-speaking people was common in the late 19th and early 20th century. They estimate that the number of Latinos killed by mobs reached well into the thousands, though definitive documentation only exists about 547 cases.
So you can easily triple. You can easily triple whatever numbers they're gonna put out.
You can
And that's
super
just
triple.
right. It's right, a super triple. Because Esau don't record that shit, man.
Yeah.
They don't overturn those cases, man. Even, hey, they know when to segregate discrimination. They don't give a shit about us. And it says no man shall pity us. So these numbers are low, man.
Nobody's
Hyper deflated.
Nobody's gonna go aside to ask how thou do it.
Who will bemoan thee?
Who will bemoan thee, man? Hey,
They were happy. So they said, aha, they clapped their hands.
shit, man. They got that one account of motherfucking Edomites dressing up like Gadites and killing Gad. But how many accounts do you have that on all sides? Even to this very day, you got militias in the hood killing Jake.
Well, the first purge shows you that it was basically Edomites dressed up to cause the ruckus, man, which is about to come into a city near you
right now.
Well, that's what the premise of the Boston Tea Party was, man. We dressed up with Native Americans and threw the tea over there, and then after that, they started slaughtering Gad.
Yeah.
It says the violence began during California's gold rush, just after California became part of the United States.
So they just stole the land. They just stole the land, and then started killing them for one they own land. Man.
Michael 2 again.
Mm-hmm. It says violence began during California's gold rush, just after California became part of the United States. At the time, white miners begrudged former Mexicans a share of the wealth yielded by Californian mines, and sometimes enacted vigilante justice. In 1851, for example, a mob of vigilantes accused Josefa Segovia of murdering a white man. After a fake trial, they marched her through the streets and lynched her. Over 2,000 men gathered to watch, shouting racial slurs. Others were attacked on suspicion of fraternizing with the white women or insulting white people. And look, and this is the thing, the preface that they killed Emmett with. That he was what? Others were attacked on suspicion of fraternizing with white women or insulting white people. All right, and that's what they accused Emmett Till of, man. Whether he did or not, whether it was a lynch or not, they used that as an excuse, man, to pounce. Just like Liam Neeson admitted to wanting to kill whatever random black man because it was a primal nature. All right, it's in him naturally to hate you, and the feeling is mutual, man.
That's right.
All right. It says, man, hold on, my place here. It says even children became the victims of this violence. All right, that Hosea, if it says the Hosea 13 and 16 by Hosea, because it talks about the actual babies, but like the brother read in Deuteronomy, they're not the young or old, man. It says even children became the victims of this violence. In 1911, a mob of over 100 people hanged a 14-year-old boy, Antonio Gomez, after he was arrested for murder. Now, hey, didn't they do this to Emmett Till? Who else did this happen to, man? All right, it says, rather than let him serve time in jail, townspeople lynched him and dragged his body through the streets of Thorndale, Texas. These and other horrific acts of cruelty lasted until the 1920s, when the Mexican government began pressuring the United States to stop the violence. Pressuring them. Not doing shit about it, pressuring them. That's how you know that the Mexican government's a sellout, man, because this war on drugs is making sure you politicians in Mexico get your cut while the poorer people die in the border and die in these cartel wars, man.
That's why Scripture said on the head had many crowns. All these governments got to go there. They all wicked.
Quick precept to bounce off you. What you said, Deuteronomy 28, verse 50. A nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. You know? Hey, they didn't show favor to young nor old, even to this day, man. And they got to pay for it. Short and simple, man.
It says, but though mob brutality eventually quelled, hatred of Spanish-speaking Americans did not. And it says, the brothers get the Ezekiel 35 and verse 6, that perpetual hatred. You get it also in for 1 and 10 in Obadiah for that violence against that brother Jacob. We suffered those things, man. Hey, man, the way it is we, you know what I'm saying? We're looking past what happened to our brothers, man. That's why the 12 tribes, all right, the actual Hebrew Israelites, all right, and the confusion of face are going to stand up for the actual injustice to our people, because we know that these signs were a sign upon us. That's how we know who we are, man. It says, in the late 1920s, anti-Mexican sentiment spiked as the Great Depression began, as the stock market tanked and unemployment grew. That's a very familiar scene right now. All right? Let me read that again. It says, in the late 1920s, anti-Mexican sentiment spiked as the Great Depression began, as the stock market tanked and unemployment grew.
Right? So they blame this economy, just like they're doing now. The economy's crashing. They're saying all these illegals coming in. It's the illegals bringing the drugs in. Look, the CIA's bringing this shit in here. All right? The illegals come and work for dirt cheap. If anything, they help the economy, man. You become a consumer-based economy. That's the problem. Hey, but there's nothing new under the sun. They did this to the Israelites back when you read the rest of Esther and Apocrypha. They said the reason this kingdom, the problem with the kingdom is this rebellious nation. It said in the first address. The problem is this rebellious nation. But really, hey, the problem is these damn heathens, man. All right.
It says Anglo-Americans accused Mexicans and other foreigners of stealing American jobs. Mexican Americans were discouraged, even forbidden from accepting charitable aid. Right? Mexican Americans were discouraged and even forbidden from accepting charitable aid. All right, because hey, man, there was a lot of people that they didn't have translators, although they were American citizens, to get the benefits of being a U.S. citizen. They had already taken our lands. The least they could have given was the benefits, right? But even then, they said that they were turned away and discouraged. Why? They were belittled because they were speaking another language, which was taught to them by another tribe of Edomites. The Spanish and the English, what? Hey, man. It says the fear about jobs and the economy spread. The United States forcibly removed up to 2 million people of Mexican descent from the country, up to 60% of whom were American citizens. So these were illegal deportations, man. Mm-hmm. It says, euphemistically referred to as the repatriations, the removals were anything but voluntary. Sometimes private employers drove their employees to the border and kicked them out. In other cases, local governments cut off relief, raided gathering places, offered free train fare to Mexico. Colorado even ordered all of its Mexicans, in reality anyone who spoke Spanish or seemed to be of Latino descent, to leave the state in 1936 and blockaded its southern border to keep people from leaving. Though no formal decree was ever issued by immigration authorities, INS officials deported about 82,000 people during that period. And how you know these things are happening? They're happening now. These signs are on us now.
They're not going by they don't go by their own laws, man. They'll put some on the books and they won't even adhere to it, man.
The impact of Spanish-speaking communities was devastating. Some light-skinned Mexican Americans attempted to pass themselves as Spanish, not Mexican, right?
Hey, there you go for you BOIs, man. All right. Hey, my grandmother, now she's Southern Kingdom, and she did that. She told me how when she was growing up, she passed for white, man. They had to go through the same shit we went through, man. What's the one bitch name? She got famous for making the hair products back in the early 1900s. She played to be white, man, and she gave money to help Madam, is it Madam something, or is it Sue Adams? Whatever, you can Google it. The black bitch that helped the hair shit in 1900s.
Basically,
I got also Christina Aguilera, man. You know what I'm saying? She could pass as being an Edomite. Sure, I thought she was an Edomite at first. You know what I'm saying?
They do that, man.
Cameron Diaz.
Hey, Jeremiah 14 too, man. Already says what? We're the shades of the ground.
Yep.
So that's from dark dirt to white sand.
Mm-hmm.
All the shades of the ground, man. And we're scattered. Hey, the brother you want to quote it earlier, Ephraim is a cake not turned. It's going to range from light to dark. Like if you put a pancake on the griddle, and this time you put it in the oven, so it's even hotter, but you put it on the griddle, you leave the bottom part, hey, guess what? It's going to be dark. And the top is still going to be white. All right? It's that simple, man. They went through the exact same shit that we had to go through. Arabs didn't have to go through that. And in fact, they worked with the Arabs. They labeled them white on their job application so they can get hired, man. All right, Hamites don't go through that. Gooks definitely don't go through that. This is specific to the Israelites, man. And we're the bottom, we're the tail, man.
That's what it says. The temple that's without, measure it not, for it's given unto the Gentiles, man. They know they outside the, that's why they in cahoots in the way they is, man.
God, it says Mexican Americans attempt to pass themselves as Spanish, not Mexican, in an attempt to evade enforcement. Now, even George Lopez said that joke. He said, "Oh, my parents are from Mexico, but I'm from Spain." You know, because that's basically the connotation that comes with you claiming that Spanish heritage, man. Hey, if that's the case, go to the crown and get your gold from Spain, man. Take your little piece of paper and go ask them for your cut, man. It says people with disabilities and active illnesses were removed from hospitals and dumped at the border. Esau's a piece of shit, man. As one victim of repatriation told Raymond Rodriguez, who wrote A History of the Period, Decade of Betrayal, they might as well have sent us to Mars. Others, like Rodriguez's father, did not wait for raids or enforcement and returned to Mexico independently to escape discrimination and the fear of removal. His wife refused to accompany him, and the family never saw him again. When deportations finally ended around 1936, up to 2 million Mexican Americans had been repatriated. Because of many of the repatriation attempts were informal or conducted by private companies, it is nearly impossible to quantify the exact number of the people who were deported. Around 1/3 of Los Angeles Mexican population left the country, as did 1/3 of Texas Mexican-born population, though both the states of California and the city of Los Angeles apologized for repatriation in the early 2000s. The deportations have largely faded from public memory. And that was that separation of families, man. It happened then, it's happening now. And it was what? Like the article had said previously, things that they had perfected through what? Jim Crow, all right? Through William Lynch letters.
And this Deuteronomy 28:32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto other people, and thine eyes shall look, and fill with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand. All right, the fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall the nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always. So it said what? The land you labored on, you weren't going to get to keep it. Your children and shit, you're going to be separated from them, man. You're just going to be able to do nothing about it. Who else did this happen to? Who do these curses fall on, man? All right, the so-called Negroes and Latins, man, and the natives. We are the Israelites, man. Nobody else on this planet fits these.
Hey, it's happening today over there in the border. You know, the Mexicans they catch, what they do, they separate the mom, separate the children. You know, they had a case that, well, one of those separations, one of the daughters ended up dying. Now the lady's trying to sue. You know, it's evident, man. You know, the proof is there, man.
Well, wait, this is one more thing I should read about 1980. It said 1980, a lot of the fucking shit was segregated still.
No, because this was the 1870s.
Yeah, 80%. Right, the 1940s. I'm slacking about 1940s because this last part, because the president switched articles, and this last part goes with we read earlier how the Issue Corporations coming to this land. They was putting ghettos like us so-called Negroes. That goes with the separation. That goes with the schooling. That's why they build us up house to house like this, man. So they can separate from us.
It says, and another little remembered facet of anti-Latino discrimination in the United States is school segregation. Unlike the South, which had explicit laws barring African-American children from white schools, segregation was not enshrined in the laws of the Southwestern United States. Nevertheless, Latino people were excluded from restaurants, movie theaters, and schools. Latino students were expected to attend separate Mexican schools throughout the Southwest beginning in the 1870s. At first, the schools were set up to serve children of Spanish-speaking laborers at the rural ranches. Soon they spread into the cities, too. By the 1940s, as many as 80% of Latino children in places like Orange County, California, attended separate schools. Among them was Sylvia Mendez, a young girl who was turned away from an all-white school in the county. Instead of going to the pristine, well-appointed 17th Street Elementary, she was told to attend Hoover Elementary, a dilapidated two-room shack. Their bare-bones facilities offered to students like Mendez lacked basic supplies and sufficient teachers. Many only provided vocational classes or did not offer a full 12 years of instruction. Children were arbitrarily forced to attend based on factors like their complexion and the last name.
There you go. So this whole system was based on separating us, man. Esau wanted to cage us up, man, call us up, all right, and separate themselves, man. This is Isaiah 5, and I'm gonna start at 7. This is Isaiah 5:7. For the vineyard of Yahweh of hosts is the house of Israel, and the men of Judah his pleasant plant. And he looked for judgment, but behold oppression, for righteousness, but behold a cry. And what does Deuteronomy 28 say? we was going to suffer in this land, and we was going to be separated from our children, man. And we will only be your oppressed, right? And part of the oppression is verse 8. Woe unto them that join house to house, that lay field to field, till there be no place, that they may be placed alone in the midst of the earth. So they pile us up on top of each other. Same thing like niggas love to talk about in the black culture. I'm from the projects. The projects. It's the same thing with the Northern Kingdom. All right, we talking about how it be 20 Mexicans in one bedroom apartment. All right, even Southern Kingdom make jokes like that, man. But that's all design. That's all part of the curses. They built these cities up, separated us from them. All right, and oppressed us and put us even on top of each other, man. Shit is fucking ridiculous. All right, you're saying that the Latins ain't part of the 12 tribes of Israel? All right, you're a liar, man. And you're gonna be found out to be one.
And you're gonna be put to death.
It's Wisdom of Solomon 2:11. So let our strength be the law of justice, so that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. All right, so they make this shit up as they go, all right, to their own benefit, all right, because like the brothers getting into how they segregated us, and the Jim Crows, and all these stipulations that they put on these on Jake, all right, and don't abide by them, you know, and still cut their throats and downplay their worth, you know.
John, we're gonna jump into this basically labeled under opinion, man. New York Times, man. It says when Americans lynched Mexicans, but when you take into consideration these time dates, you know very well, man, that this was in blacks doing this, man. All right, it shouldn't say Americans, man. It should say Edomites. It should say the white race. It says, When Americans Lynched Mexicans by William D. Kerrigan and Clyde Webb. The recent release of a landmark report on the history of lynching in the United States is a welcome contribution to the struggle over American collective memory. Few groups, and that goes back to that wisdom of Solomon, they made no account of our labors, man. The fact that we put in time so that this kingdom has been being sustained, man. The other article talked about the basically the financial help that we brought to this place, man. But what would happen is that they deported you. You have to start at zero again, man. It says the recent release of a landmark report on the history of lynching in the United States is a welcome contribution to the struggle over American collective memory. Few groups have suffered more systematic mistreatment, abuse, and murder than African Americans. So it's grouping them in the same thing, man. Same captivity, same curses. It says one dimension of mob violence is often overlooked, however, is that lynchers targeted many other racial and ethnic minorities in the United States, including Native Americans, Italians, Chinese, especially Mexicans, which they're going to go ahead and group everybody. But we're going to see when the body count, if it really is everybody.
And a lot of those groups, through the spirit, I believe, from the Israelites, that's Isaiah. Let me get it real quick. The ones they're talking about. Hey, they're talking about the Israelites that was scattered amongst the groups, man. Hey, this is Isaiah 16 and 4. Let mine outcast dwell with thee, Moab. Be thou a covert to them from the face of the spoiler, for the extortion is at an end. The spoiler ceaseth, the oppressors are consumed out of the land. All right, so there's a lot of Israelites that were scattered amongst the Chinese, and these Chinese people they're speaking about was the railroad workers, man. All right, I believe in the spirit, man. And they was doing the same grunt work as who? The Issacharites that we read in the other article. So although it mentioned the Chinese, it's talking about scattered Israelites. The brother, hey, through the spirit, that's the spirit. We 10 steps ahead of y'all through the spirit, man. The brother brought the definition of pursue in the beginning. That these curses will pursue you wherever you went to, man. And we already know the Italians, man. Even that one damn movie, Don Cheeto went into the breakdown of how the Moors were the Italians, man. All right? Especially the Sicilians.
They were lynching a lot of Sicilians because when they came to America, they were giving jobs to Southern Kingdom and Esau and fucking like that. They started lynching
because they was the same. Yeah.
Americans are largely unaware that Mexicans were frequently
and it said especially Mexicans, man. Mm-hmm. All right. So what if fucking 50 gooks? They say it was more bites. So what if 50 gooks got hung? Say if those Italians were Edomites, which they weren't. You know, for the most part. Hey, say so what if 50 of them got hung? All right, Gag, so-called Negroes, and the Mexicans, man. That's part of our fucking heritage, man. To this day, damn cartels still show that the curses upon the Mexicans because they hang them, man.
Mm-hmm.
They hang them over the damn highway, the highway crossing, man.
Curse be he that hang from a tree.
That's right. That's still part of our heritage, man. In the Wild Wild West, they showed it. How did they punish them Indians, man? They will fucking hang them. All right? We already know the so-called Negro, man. The damn song Strange Fruit says enough. Strange Fruit is a song about Negroes hanging on trees. It was so common that a phrase came out of it, man. It was strange fruit, man. Niggas hanging on a tree.
No man's afraid of animals.
It says Americans are largely unaware that the Mexicans were frequently the targets of lynch mobs from the mid-19th century until well into the 20th century, second only to African Americans. In the scale of the scope of the crimes, one case largely overlooked and ignored by American journalists, but not by Mexican government, was that 7 Mexican shepherds hanged by white vigilantes near Corpus Christi, Texas. In late November 1873, so right, that's when she was born. You guys know this. It says the mob was probably trying to intimidate the shepherd's employer into selling his land. None of the killers were arrested. From 1848 to 1928.
Hey, so this is Isaiah 10. This is Isaiah 10 and 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and the right grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. And so, and the Lord specified, he said, my people, man. And that's the difference. If these were some heathens that did this too, judges would have came eventually. All right? They would have gave, hey, what happened with Japan? They bombed Japan, they built them up. America spent billions on building, if not trillions, man, on building Japan back up. All right? But when it comes to us, there's no apology, there's no remorse, there's no sorrow. Letting you know right here, Israelites, these laws, and the fact they even get arrested proves that these are Israelites they was doing this to. Because this injustice that they do, all right, it was heavily put on who? The Lord's people. And that's scripture, man.
Hey, and the fact that who did it shows who they are.
Yeah, the devil. So-called white man is the devil, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
All right, plain and simple. Who else does stuff like this? And still got these people in your land, still putting your foot up our ass, and then got the people that that made your country great on our backs, and you still got the nerve to talk down on us, to say you need to get rid of Mexicans. Hey, guess what? If you get rid of all the Mexicans, you ain't gonna have nothing to run in this place. You get rid of this, they love to say, go back to Africa, nigga. They want to get the Mexicans out. Your country born as hell. Hey, as much as you hate us, Esau, you love us. You need us for your trends. You need us for your coolness. You'll be a bored piece of shit, man. You'll be still passing the basketball 50 times around in one damn game, man. In one quarter. One ball possession. That's all they did was pass the ball. There's no dribbling, nothing to pass it. What the fuck, man? Y'all need us, man. And y'all know it. Y'all hatred is stemmed from jealousy, man. Y'all love us so much you hate us. Fucking idiots.
They hate us because they ain't us.
It's from 1848 to 1928. Mobs murdered thousands of Mexicans through surviving records. Right, surviving records.
Right. What happened to the rest of the records? Those survived. Right, those survived. That means somebody destroyed the others. Come on, man. So if the surviving records say thousands, you better believe it was at least in the tens, hundreds of thousands, man.
Says those surviving records allow us to clearly document only about 547. These lynchings have occurred not only in the southwestern states of Arizona, California, New Mexico, and Texas, but also in states far from the border like Nebraska and Wyoming.
Man.
Some of these cases did appear in the press accounts when reporters depicted them as violent public spectacles, as they did with many lynchings of African Americans in the South.
Hey, both these articles are making the clear comparison, all right, that the northern kingdom to the southern kingdom. Now, Lord put that spirit on them to do this, man. And that's why Job said, my enemy wrote a book, I would read it, man. I would bind it upon my hand. Esau puts information out here. This is far use right here. You know, our enemy put out information condemning himself.
For example, on July 5th, 1851, a mob of 2,000 in Downville, California, watched the extra-legal hanging of a Mexican woman named Juana Loaiza, who had been accused of having murdered a white man named Frank Cannon. Seems like he was a loose cannon already. Such episodes were not isolated to the turbulent gold rush period. More than half a century later, on November 3rd, 1910, a mob snatched a 20-year-old Mexican laborer, Antonio Rodriguez, from the jail in the Rock Springs, Texas. The authorities arrested him on charges that he had killed the rancher's wife. Mob leaders bound him to a mesquite tree, doused him with kerosene, and burned him alive. The El Paso Herald reported that thousands turned out to witness the event, who found no evidence that anyone was ever arrested. While there was similarities between the lynchings of blacks and Mexicans, there were also clear differences. One was the local authorities and deputized citizens played particularly conspicuous roles in the mob violence against Mexicans. On July 28, 1918, a band of Texas Rangers arrived in the village of Porvenir in Presidio County, Texas. Mexican outlaws had recently attacked a nearby ranch, and the posse presumed that the locals were acting as spies and informants for Mexican raiders on the other side of the border. So they accused them of conspiracy with the other Mexicans, right? The group rounded up nearly 2,000 men, searched their houses, and marched 15 of them to a rock bluff near the village and executed them. The Porvenir Massacre, as it has become known, was a climatic event in the Mexican Americans remember as the Hora de Sangre, or Hour of Blood. It led the following year to an investigation by the Texas legislature and reform of the Rangers.
Right, and this, don't forget, this Esau pushed this shit, so it got some bones in there. That's no difference. Plenty of police and so-called officials fucked up the so-called Negroes, man. To this day, they do it to both parties, the Negroes and the Latins, man. Fucked us up, man. All right, so that's mad. Hey, the FBI took down, they killed the Black Panther leaders, man. They set up a whole sting against them, man. So look, that's no difference. That's bullshit.
Between 1950 and 1918, vigilantes, local law officers, and Texas Rangers were executed without due process. Unknown thousands of Mexicans for their alleged role in a revolutionary uprising known as the Plan de San Diego. White fears of Mexican revolutionary violence exploded in July and August of 1915 after Mexican raiders committed a series of assaults on the economic infrastructure of the lower Rio Grande Valley in the resistance to white dominance. The raids unleashed a bloody wave of retaliatory action amid a climate of intense paranoia. While there were certainly instances in the history of American South where law officers colluded in mob action, the level of engagement by local and state authorities in the reaction to the Plan de San Diego was remarkable. The lynchings persisted in the 1920s, eventually declining largely because of pressure from the Mexican government. It says historians have often ascribed to the South a distinctiveness that has set it apart from the rest of the United States. In so doing, they have created the impression of a peculiar Big-Native region plagued by unparalleled levels of racial violence. The story of mob violence against Mexicans in the Southwest compels us to rethink the history of lynching. Southern blacks were the group most often targeted, but comparing the histories of the South and West strengthens our understanding of mob violence in both. So even they're telling you that they see the relativity to it. They see the comparisons. They're saying, hey, look, although the West had their oppression, the South had the oppression too. It says Southern blacks were the group most often targeted, but comparing the histories of the South and West strengthens our understanding of mob violence in both. Right, because there was one party doing that violence. The history of anti-Mexican violence remained thus remains us of the cost and consequences of hate. But that's that natural born hate. Who has that? Ezekiel 35.
This is Ezekiel 35. Ezekiel 35, verse 5. It says, "Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword, in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end." It says, "Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh power."
It's like, hey, that's Esau. They hate us, man. Is it perpetual means everlasting, man? So from the beginning up until now, man, it hasn't gone anywhere. It can't go anywhere. You know? So you got a lot of blood to pay for, man. You got a debt that you can't pay off by money, a debt you can't pay off with gold and silver. All right, the only way to pay is with blood, man, and servitude. That's said the Lord, man. That's said the Bible. You keep on that.
Numbers 35.
It says, "Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee."
That's right. Hey, so you shed blood, man. Now it's your turn to get pursued by blood, man. Now you shed blood. Now it's your time for your blood to be shed. And the Lord is going to come destroy you, man. All right?
Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee.
That's right. Go ahead, Johnson. Hold that too.
Numbers 35 and 33. "So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it." And that
Esau's blood has to be shed in order for things to be done right. This is what the Lord's judgment in order for it to be right.
and also Isaiah 14:21 goes along with it. You know what I'm saying? Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their forefathers, man. I mean, their fathers.
Right, because this generation tries to grease out that wasn't me, I wasn't there.
They always do, bro. You can't wiggle. There ain't no wiggle room.
Where'd you go?
I got to open that.
You can read that last one you read over, Pastor John.
Ezekiel 35, verse 6. "Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh power, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. Since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. Thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from it that passeth out, and him that returneth."
Right, most desolate, man. Something never seen before. All right, what we went through, no nation has gone through what we've gone through, man. All right? Partial genocide, but you're going to be worse than us. You're going to get a full genocide, man. Go ahead.
Right, as scripture say, what? Return unto them. No.
That's right. That's right.
You try to do it to us, so now you're double to that is actually doing it to you. It says, verse 8, "And I will fill his mountains with his slain men, and thy hills, and in thy valleys, and in all thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword. I will make thee perpetual desolations, and thy cities shall not return."
And you're going to be forever desolate. Perpetual again. Everlasting desolation, man.
"And ye shall know that I am Yahweh, because thou hast said, these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas Yahweh was there."
Hey, there you go. So you said, look, you was going to rule over the so-called northern and southern kingdom, man, as if you was the Lord, as if you was Yahweh, man. All right? And that alone proves that the northern kingdom is over here in America, man. Yep. Not like you BOI and say, hey, over in Africa, South Africa. That's bullshit. It said Esau was going to oppress us together. Yep. It says they was going to try to rule over these two nations together. All right? They did the same things to the so-called Negro and they did to the Latins, man. And I say Latins, I'm including natives. All right? Because it's the northern and southern kingdom, even as the head tribe of the natives, man. All right? So they did the same thing to both of us over here in America. And Babylon is great, man. Not in fucking South Africa. All right? Those the two nations of the Bible, man, the northern and southern kingdom, all right, which is really one nation, nation of Israel, suffered over here in Babylon together, man. And you saw we really want to pay for that. All right? And it scares you to see us rise together, man.
God. It says, "Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh power, I will even do according to thine anger, and according to thine envy, which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them."
That's right. And so the Lord's gonna the way the harshness you put on us, you're gonna get it. And what does it say? He that Judge without mercy shall receive no mercy. So you're gonna get 0 mercies, man. The same hatred you had towards us, now it's your turn to feel that, man. The Lord is going to show how much He hate you.
And because in the grand scheme of things, the Lord told us, He said, look, I'm going to judge you in this certain way so you know how to show judgment when you judge, man. But you were never given that. You were never able to show mercy, man. Hey, the tender mercies of the wicked is cruel, man. You were created to be the crooked serpent. Nothing you do is right. You got to be destroyed.
This is Isaiah 47:6. It says, I was wroth with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into thine hand. Thou didst show them no mercy. Upon the ancient hast thou very heavily laid thy yoke.
Yeah, you show no.
Just going back to what you were saying. You know, that they show no mercy to us, man. All right, but the scriptures say that we shall repay you double, man. All right, but that was it.
I got a quick precept. It's Obadiah 1:10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, which Jacob's name got changed to Israel, you know, he prince of power, which is all 12 tribes. Shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Let's see. Man, I can read this whole thing.
Right, because basically that touched the point that the brother said. If he tried to exterminate us, the Lord said that He's going to be exterminated. So that's going to, in Revelation says, double according to their works, man. If their attempt was to exterminate us, all right, read that again.
It says, not Jeremiah, Obadiah 1:10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever.
They're going to be cut off, man. They're going to be exterminated, be eradicated.
Yep. And then also was it the book of Malachi? You know what I'm saying? Even though it's our brother and stuff like that, the Most High love us and hates Esau, man.
Right. And he's not our brother.
God, so like.
He said 2 manner of peoples in the world, 2 nations.
Oh, yep.
He came out the same. His brothers like Japheth and Hammer's brothers. They're not.
Right.
All right.
Love work no ill against his neighbor, man.
That's right.
Yep.
What was the love, like to quote the brother from LA, man? What was the love when you were lynching us, man, and cutting off our balls, man? What was the love then?
What was the love when you shot down a nigga for just having an Arizona joint? Arizona has some Skittles, man. What's the love? You murder, man. All right. You Edomites, man. You so-called white people, man. You Caucasians. He that dwelleth in the clefts of the rocks. You crackers from the Caucasus Mountains. What was the love when y'all murdered the man based off the false witness of a woman that said he whistled at her? How do you murder somebody for fucking whistling, man? Even if he did, which he didn't. And she admitted that he did. How do you murder somebody? How do you explain that? How do you justify that, man?
Wisdom of Solomon 2:10. So let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the age, man. And that's their whole, that's their whole get up, man. All right, they don't have no pity. All right, they shooting grandmas, having search warrants in the wrong houses. All right, a drunk Edomite cop says you drunk, breaks into spoliate boyfriend house and shoot the shit out of his ass, man. You know, you got Laquan McDonald running from the police with his back turned and get foot full of fucking clips, man.
Like 20 times.
20 times, man.
Instead of like just once, you shoot him in the leg, but you shoot him like 20 times.
Right, they had a whole press conference about this cop getting beat up in prison. That's what happens in prison. If there was a press conference for each person that got their ass beat in jail, there'd be not enough press conference and day and time of the day. But now it's a big deal because Esau's in prison. Boo-hoo, because a cop is getting his ass mopped in prison.
And look, and y'all try to protect him by transferring his ass, man. You know?
That's where they fucked him up.
Yeah.
They fucked him up in Connecticut. Send him to Maine. It'll be the same, man. Jake's foot. Them jails are filled with Jake.
Yeah, quick precept. Zechariah 11:5. It says, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty, and they that sell them say, blessed be the Lord, for I am rich, and their own shepherds pity them not. All right, so they're, it's basically Esau slaying all Israelites, man, are in the streets, in the ghettos. You know what I'm saying? And it's us that are dying everywhere, man. In the prisons, man. All right, and they're walking around innocent. Cops walk free.
Right, they be blessed be the Lord.
Right.
They have. What did Donald Trump say? He said when they're overlooking his golf course, he said when they asked him if he believed in God, he said, "Wouldn't you?" And when he was basically saying, if you saw this landscape, wouldn't you? Shows that he actually doesn't have no fear. He don't only trust in what he sees, man. The attributes of the wicked describe him to a T, man. When it says the son of perdition is based on his actions, when it says the man of sin, when it goes into the serpent, all right, it describes, just like the curses describe us, it describes our enemy, man. And the beautiful thing about it is that the light at the end of the tunnel is Deuteronomy 30:7, which we actually see now, man. Deuteronomy 37. What have you got?
I got something. It's the book of Isaiah 14:21. It says, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, man. So those Edomites that were back then lynching our people are here today reincarnated, man. There's nothing new under the sun. You know, the Most High did not create any new spirits, man. All right. So, you Edomites here today, man, are going to have to pay for the iniquity of your forefathers, man, for lynching Latinos, man, for lynching neighbors, man, for oppressing the Israelites, man, the apple of the Lord's eye, man. You know, that they do not rise nor possess the land nor fill the face of the world with cities, man. So the Most High is about to take your kingdom away from you, man, for dealing unrighteously, man. You know, for unrighteous dealing, God by deceit.
Just for the sake of the scriptures, there's no new spirits on the earth. We don't know what the Lord is doing in heaven as far as creating new spirits up there. But there's no new ones that was put down here. These are the Edomites that did the shit to us. That's why they get this judgment. Right. You have to suggest something, right?
Kind of Sirach 10:8. Sirach 10:8 says,
what you done with it?
You can go ahead.
Sirach 10:8. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another.
Sure. So you're going down, man.
Right, amongst other things, man.
Right, that's right. Hey, this is your court case, man. Hey, you're guilty. You've been found guilty, Esau.
You're reading on verse 22. For I will rise up against them, saith Yahweh of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, saith Yahweh, man. So you guys try to eradicate us, try to extinct us, man. Hey, the same thing is gonna happen to you, Edomites, man. You know, are you gonna go into slavery? All right, and after slavery, man, after 1,000 years, you're gonna be eradicated, man. You know, read the book of Obadiah, man. They'll tell you right there, man. You know. But that was it today.
I think they're Deuteronomy 37.
This is Jeremiah 51:35. The violence done to me and to my flesh be upon Babylon, shall the inhabitants of Zion say, and my blood upon the inhabitants of Chaldea, so shall Jerusalem say. You know, so everything. Slave ships are coming back. Slave ships, human suits. You know, and they're all gonna be filled with Edomites.
That's right. That's right.
You know, everything you guys did to us is, we're gonna do it double, man. You know.
Oh, we'll try and make it back to it. This is on Revelation chapter 18, verse 6. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works, and her works were all evil. And the cup which she had filled to her double. You know, and everything that we went through, it's going to happen to you, and it's going to be double, worse. It's going to, we're going to be meditating terror during that time. You know what I mean? And giving you, your reward, man. You know what I mean?
Somebody got some else?
Deuteronomy 7, 37. Come on.
I know I was holding it. Yeshaya, got something to cut?
Yeah,
Go ahead, bro.
Bring it out, bro.
You can bring it out.
Go ahead, Republic.
Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 7. And the Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. Khan, you know what I'm saying? I know in what is it, in Genesis, we're gonna possess the gates of all our enemies, man. You know, not just Esau, but including all the heathen, man. But especially Esau, Edom, man.
Right. Hey, Deuteronomy 32, it says what, man? We're going to tread upon high places of all our enemies. So yeah, you took us down, but it says what? Judah hand shall be at the neck of his enemies. It said Gad should go down, a troop should overcome Gad, but Gad should overcome at the end. So we went through our hell and sufferings. Hey, guess what? You saw prepare is your turn, man. The blood you put on us, hey, now it's your turn for your blood to be shed, man. So with that, call Allah and Allah. Double honor to the apostles and salutations brothers on this thing. It's sincerity, truth, and charity. Shalom.
Shalom.